We are live and welcome to 7 Cities Shoptalk Sports Show, broadcasting live from the beautiful state of Virginia to you all over the world. And I can tell you, this is Rivalry Week. So this is an opportunity to really get into some of the things that, we may not always want to talk about, but we're going to talk about it tonight. I think that
I thought we already played Carolina.
Well, there are a lot of things at stake tonight, and this is going to be a big show. We're also going to have Jacquie Franciulli jumping on as well, and we're going to actually have also some of our other hosts coming in with us as well. So before we start it, we want to thank you for joining us on another episode of our brand of Dysfunctional from Rivalry. And as of now, this shop is open. I'm your host, Big Law Lawrence Johnson. And of course, I got my co-host here as well. I'm going to go ahead and open it up. I got my man Ed in the building. How you doing, Ed? What's on your opening monologue today?
Geno Smith sucks.
Geno Smith sucks.
Yes.
Sorry, man. Sorry about that, bro.
It's been a long year.
Yeah, it has been a long year, hasn't it?
It's been a long year.
That's right.
And we still got, 4 weeks to go?
Yeah, we do.
Yay.
Let's go ahead and bring in Wood. Opening monologue, Wood. How you doing, man? Opening up here at Rivalry Week.
Hey, Law. Good to see y'all. Happy Thanksgiving to all you. This is why we can't have nice things. When we're in
Chad, did you get all squared away with Golden Corral?
Bad news about Cam Robinson. I feel like we're cursed. We can't have nice things, but we'll see what we can do anyway.
Well, backup played well, but we'll get into some of that as well. AB, what's going on? Opening monologue from you, young lady.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Since we won't see each other on Thursday. Yeah, like Chad's right. We can't have anything nice. Damn it. This is the last game, like the most important game, of the regular season, and sucks to not have him out there. He's a huge playmaker, so it's going to suck not having him out there. But at the same time, I feel really great and really excited about the week.
Okay, all right, sounds good. And of course, our resident Hokie, Amy.
There goes the neighborhood.
This is the time. This is definitely the week where we really get real heavy at each other. And I know Amy is just chopping.
Get heavy.
She has a lot to say. Oh yeah, this is gonna get heavy today.
Get heavy.
Yeah, it's gonna be heavy today because she's got a lot of things on her wish list coming up this weekend. How are you doing, Amy? What's on your opening monologue?
Dream on.
Good. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Everybody off tomorrow, or is everybody still got to work?
Some of us still have to work.
Okay, all right. Yeah,
we don't have Chad Wood money.
I'm working half a day.
I know that's right.
I'll be on the job at 7 a.m. I wish I had your money, Ed.
Well, this is what I'll say. I think only one of us is retired, Ed.
Who's that?
Not any of us.
not anybody here.
Well, this is what I can say. We're going to have Jacquie Franciulli come on the show here pretty soon. Reporter extraordinaire on the grounds, reporting at the University of Virginia. And she's going to talk to us about some what's going on, from her purview of the United States, of the University of Virginia. Go ahead, Amy.
Somebody needs to be.
Yeah, it's a lot of feedback.
I think it's Ed's mic.
Let me see if I can. Let me see. Hold on one second. I'm gonna mute you, Ed. Better. Check. Mic check. Everyone out there. Okay. Cool. All right. Yeah. So, what we'll do?
The old man.
What we'll do is, we got a lot to talk about here, and Jackie's gonna come in and really speak with us. We're gonna talk about, the state of the University of Virginia, their football program, and what it means moving forward for a coach and for the team. What should we expect? We'll also talk about Amy's team, and talk about, Franklin getting hired and what that means. Is she happy? Is that something that, to discuss? Also, we'll do our predictions as we always do, as game player of the game, and also give some score predictions. And then we got some time. We'll talk about men's and women's basketball. Of course, the men's basketball team getting a large donation as well. I guess our folks out in Central Virginia love throwing that big money around, man, for the university. So let's let's keep that fire going. But before we get going, let's go ahead and bring in Miss Jacquie Franciulli from Wahoos 247. How you doing, Jacquie?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
We're good. We're good. Thank you for joining us this Tuesday evening for the show. Of course, if you remember, we did this before the season even started. And, we all kind of had predictions. We all were kind of optimistic. And we're all like, man, I think all of us, even Chad, may have even had us at 500 or maybe even a little bit of a winning record, possibly. And I don't think any of us would have thought that we're on the verge of winning 10 games, possibly, and have an opportunity to go against our rival. But that we got you on here, Jacquie. Number one, everyone, this is Jacquie Franciulli from Wahoos 247. She actually is the top beat reporter. I know there's some folks may have something to say about that in our press room, but Jacquie is truly, if not the best, one of the best on the grounds, gets the information, gets the scoop, and not just for stories, also recruiting. She's one of the top recruiting reporters throughout the East Coast as well. Wanted to get her on and get her idea, get some of her some wisdom, from her and what she thinks the program. So I'm gonna go ahead and open it up for you, Jacquie, and kind of get an idea and give you the floor of what you're feeling right now. Give me your vision from or your idea from when we talked and you're on the show before the season to when we are right now before the last game of the season.
Yeah, I think if I remember, I had like 7 or 8 wins. I think that's what I said for Virginia during the preseason. I said that they were going to beat Florida State. That was my upset to watch. And I mean, I knew they were going to be better than all the preseason rankings, but I don't think I know I wasn't expecting to be, watching the college football rankings. That's what I was doing a little while ago, seeing where they kind of lined up in the rankings, and they still control their own destiny right now. I mean, that's where we are as a program. When you look at what Tony Elliott's been able to build, is now Virginia has full control. And it just says a lot of what this staff has been able to do, because look at the other teams that relied on the portal. I mean, you could just look at Florida State, right? Mm-hmm. Virginia has been able to go into the portal, and whatever they do via evaluation, via try to figure out the personalities, it's worked. I mean, you can say that the portal, they did well by bringing talent, but what they did is also they brought guys that just fit together. I mean, trying to get over 30 players from the portal to mesh with players that are already on grounds, right? That's a lot. That's a lot to do in such a short amount of time, especially when you looked at a lot of their secondary only came post spring practice. And a lot of them didn't even play together in training camp because they were hurt. And you still had injuries that you had to deal with during the year. So what this staff has been able to do, and what the staff has been able to build to be in this moment where they are the favorite going in against Virginia Tech and one of the favorites to go to the ACC championship game. And if you look at the college football rankings, every time they mention, they put the Miami on the screen there, but they always say Miami doesn't have the ability to get to the ACC title game. I mean, it's a far-fetched scenario. They always mention Virginia. They don't mention any other ACC team. They mention Virginia. So that says a lot about what Tony Elliott and that staff and this group of players have been able to do.
Well, you think about that Miami team, I guess the word that they're using now is a placeholder, right? Yes. They're saying that they're just kind of a placeholder for the, for the time being. And I guess, for me, I'm thinking, what this team was able to accomplish. I think I was reaching for the stars. I think I said 9 wins. AB, you could probably figure that out for me. Did I say 9 wins?
I'll go back and look.
Because I think you had 8, didn't you? Yeah, I was somewhere, and I was really reaching on that. But I can tell you, watching every game, I really felt like, they were in every game. And, a few balls go, the right way, and one injury, one helmet-to-helmet contact away we're looking at a 10-1 or 11-0 season.
Yeah. I mean, they would
Possibly.
have qualified already for the ACC title game.
That's right. That's right. So it's, I don't know. I just, you go, the path that we walk every home game feels a little bit different nowadays. When you're walking up to the press box, give some people some, some a little behind the scenes. You're walking up to the press box, and it's kind of like, I really think they're going to win today, and I really haven't felt that at all since Bronco was here. That championship game year when they went and played Clemson, that was really the only time I felt that kind of confidence. But this year, I really felt like these guys are, resilient, and to echo what you're saying, Jackie, to have the ability to meld or to put that many personalities and that many skill sets, and it's not like they went into the portal. Yeah, they went shopping. Yes, they did, but they didn't get the top players, right? They didn't go in and say, "Oh man, I'm going to get the supposed best quarterback, supposed best running back, supposed." They did go get the best tackle, Monroe Mills, but they didn't, and he hasn't played because of an injury, but they didn't go and just grab the best of everything and then try to throw it together. It seems like they really went after players who had the skill set that they felt would work for them. Which is even. Oh, go ahead, AB.
I remember us having this conversation with Jackie at the beginning of the season, and we were all talking about the actual players we got out of the transfer portal, and our main question was, do we know how to put them together? And we were like, oh, we know we got talent here. Can we mesh them together? Can we make it work? And I know that was the conversation we had, and now look at us.
Yeah,
9 wins. Have to go for 10.
So 9 wins and 10, and I know we all have some maybe some stats or some once in a long time happenings information. I know one is this will be the second time, only the second time of them having 9 wins with an opportunity to get a 10th win against Virginia Tech. The last time that happened was 2007, where they already had 9 wins on the board and they could have gotten to 10 wins, and they couldn't get there, and they lost to Virginia Tech that last game of the year. But every other year, they've always had either 8 wins to get to 9, and if they get to 10, knock on wood, this would be only the second time this team gets to the 10-win plateau, which, for this program, you can look at SEC programs, Pac-10, Big 12, Big 10 programs. Oh, yeah, we get there routinely. But that is a big difference for this program. And you want to talk about trying to build something for the future, something that you can try to keep a lot of the kids in-house, a lot of the kids from the 757, 804, 703. We want to keep a lot of those kids in state and then keep them going to, or try to get them going to Virginia. This is something that needs to happen. And I want to talk to you about that really quick, Jackie, about the recruiters, being that you have a finger on the pulse when it comes to recruiting for the University of Virginia. The first time since, my little nephew, Quinn, Andrew, all of them came, that was the last time we had like a group of 757 kids come to Virginia within like a 2-year span between Trey Smoke, Quinn, and Andrew, Turtle, and Jamil. So give me an idea of what you feel, what's on the agenda for the University of Virginia when it comes to recruiting and what you see.
Yeah, I mean, what you saw started even before this year, you saw that they've been able to build inroads in state. I mean, look at what they've been able to do in the 804, right? In the Richmond area. That was kind of the first area that you saw Virginia start building those relationships. I mean, Keith Gaither and Kevin Downing, I've been spouting a lot of saying like, hey, we need to see that these two have made a lot of good movement in the Richmond area. And you've been seeing that. You've seen that with Dylan Newton-Short, Isaiah Robinson, Montino Williams, Ethan Minter. Those are the guys that you see on the field and you see their potential. I mean, Montino Williams is a freshman, but he's been playing on special teams this year. Dylan Newton-Short has been playing on third downs quite frequently this year as well for Virginia. He's in a couple of those third down packages that Virginia likes to rotate in. So you're seeing those in-state guys going into the game and making plays. That's important. I mean, look at Zay Davis. He is now the third running back, right? He's a Richmond guy. He played against Duke in an ACC game. So you're seeing these Richmond guys perform. Why am I saying this? Because now you're seeing that they're expanding to the 757, and that's in a 2027 class. That is a class that if you see 4 commits, 3 of them are from the 757. That is a remarkable ratio right now when you have 3 in-state players, and then you have another player who is Sean Curry, the very talented tight end, that you can kind of say that he's kind of in that distance of the ratio within the 6-hour drive, right? So Virginia is doing a really good job in that 2027 class, and they're going to get another commit here in the next few days from the state of Virginia. So that's something to watch for on Wahoos.
I mean, you can break it right here if you want, Jackie. You can break it. You can break some news right here if you want.
So they're going to get another in-state kid by the end of the week. So Virginia is doing really well in state, and it is building. And this is a really, they took advantage because this year was the year for you to win in state. You had Virginia Tech, who had no coach for most of the season, right? Brent Pry was fired, and then they were in the middle of a coaching search, and they were having a bad season. You are having a good season. Win, and you're going to get some of those in-state kids to reevaluate what they see as the state school. Then you had Maryland having a poor year with
Penn State and then losing.
Right, Penn State using James Franklin in the point of the year, and then you also had Maryland, who, although they have said that Loxley is going to stay at his job, I mean, it's not like saying like, yay, he's our guy. It's, hey, the coaching carousel is too full. We don't have the money to compete with a full coaching carousel. So you're still going into, if you're someone who's looking at Maryland, you're like, how safe is Coach Loxley next season? So you see all this that's going around, and you see this hectic coaching carousel that's only going to get crazier if other teams start moving around. Like, how safe is, Beamer in South Carolina? Then you see like what's going to happen with Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss, how that's going to move around guys at Florida and Auburn. I mean, there's a lot of movement that's going to happen. Virginia took advantage, especially in a geographical area. Yes, James Franklin has a lot of connections, because when you look at James Franklin, he was kind of a horrible guy to go after, right? When you look at Virginia, again, Penn State wanted a guy in the state of Virginia. They usually got him. So this is going to be a tough task for Virginia. And then the only thing they have is this year, they won. They won with the talent that they were able to, 1, develop, and 2, bring. For James Franklin, he's got questions at Virginia Tech. He was able to do what he did at Penn State with the Penn State brand. So can he do that with the Virginia Tech brand, with the Virginia Tech resources? Now, they said they're going to add a couple more millions of dollars to the NIL fund. They said they're going to update the facilities there. That will help James Franklin. It'll be interesting to see what the assistant salary is going to be when it comes to Virginia Tech. Who's going to follow James Franklin? That is the biggest question for me, is who will follow James Franklin, who he will bring. And that will be kind of determination and how they will affect the recruiting trail. I mean, it's going to be an interesting fight between the 2 programs. But I think at least what Virginia has done is they've been able to build inroads. This is not a new staff. This is a staff that's been a while here, and they've shown to develop in-state players, and that's key.
That is key. And I know Amy, I'm going to get Amy on here in a sec, and I know she probably has some questions, being the resident Hokie that's part of the crew. Shout out to my folks in the chat. What's up, Mike Gibson? Thank you for tuning in, brother. Herman Bailey, the very opinionated Herman Bailey, joining us today. How you doing, Herman? We also have Donnell. What's going on, Donnell Spinner? Thank you for tuning in. And also Wesley, all these folks, long-time listeners. And Rob Gray. What's going on, man? He says he prays every day that Dex and Biscuit doesn't go to VT. I got
to give a shout out to Mike real quick. Congratulations, Mike, and his announcement that he made this week. So huge congrats to him.
I missed it. What was it, AB?
They are expecting. So congrats, Mike.
Very good. Very good, Mike. Good job. Yeah, very good. Congratulations. But yeah, let's go ahead and get Amy in here. I know you probably got some questions for Jackie, being that she probably has more information on Virginia Tech than we would ever have. What are some things that you were concerned about? You have some questions for Jackie. I guess it's just a bird. You might be on mute. Oh, hold on. She's coming back in. Are you there, Amy? Are you? Hello? Uh-oh. All right.
Hey, can you hear me?
There you go. Now I got you. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, we got you. Can you hear us?
I have not been able to hear you for the last 5 minutes.
Okay. All right. Check, mic check.
All right, can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Okay.
All right. So you go ahead. Ask Jackie.
Blacksburg dial-up.
First off, I don't live in Blacksburg. I live in Northern Virginia. Let's get that right there, Wood. I don't really have any questions for Jackie. I mean, I know a couple things. I know that there is a big Virginia commit out there that has been to Blacksburg this past weekend. That is looking at UVA's, looking at Ohio State, is looking at West Virginia. So I don't know if it's a lock at UVA. And I think that Franklin has been given about, don't quote me on this number, but I think it's like 24 million for assistance. I was pulling up my iPad to look up that number, but he's been given some big money for assistance. So I don't know that we're going to take Biscuit or Dex.
Well, sounds like you want to jettison them. So do you not want them to follow?
He has. So what I have been told is that he has a specific amount of people, certain people he wants to take from Penn State with him.
Okay.
And if they're willing to move and go, if they're not offered what they want at Penn State, to stay. But again, you got to figure out who's going to be the Penn State coach. I mean, there's a lot of coaching things that are open. I've heard talk of Coach O. I've heard, I talked to one of my friends that is good friends with Coach O. LSU's looking at him again.
Wow. That's interesting. Or Jerome.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I would love for him to go back to LSU, and Lori would too. But Penn State has also, I mean, his name's been bandied around in the back, not very much out front.
Okay. All right. And like Jackie was saying, the movement. Also, we got to throw possibly the JMU coach. He may, could he be on the move? JMU is such a great springboard for coaches.
JMU has really, JMU's football team, they're already in their championship, right? Or didn't they win last week, AB?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're already in. Yeah, he already said that he wasn't going to consider a new contract deal yet. He's keeping his options open. So very well could be looking at moving somewhere else, which, I mean, I'm glad he's doing it the right way. If he's looking at somewhere else, I'm glad he's doing it the right way. I did not like how Cignetti left us. And I thought that was really kind of shitty of him. But at least he's doing this the right way and, being honest and upfront about everything, and we'll see, but he's definitely putting himself out there.
Okay. All right. Like Rob saying, yeah, JMU is hosting the Sun Belt Championship game. So there's some more JMU information there. So question for you, Jackie. We just had someone on the chat room saying he was saying he's curious about all the possible injuries for UVA, and he hasn't heard anything on the health. Who's healthy, who's not? Anything on the injury front. Of course, the big story, you broke that earlier today, but What are some other things that we can think about? Hopefully, you're always thinking, man, when you get the bye, we get a chance to get folks healthy. Of course, having Chandler another week, knock off, maybe get a little healthier from all of his injuries. But let me hear from you as far as injuries go.
Yeah, so the big news obviously was linebacker Cam Robinson's out for the rest of the season. He had an ACL injury against Duke, so he's going to have surgery, which means he's not going to be available for not just Virginia Tech, but also for any postseason game. So that's the big injury news coming out of there. The good news is Maddox Marcellus, who was a little bit banged up against the Blue Devils with a shoulder injury, he's fine. So you'll still have that linebacker depth. So you'll see Maddox Marcellus, Landon Danley, and I would assume you'll see a little bit of Caleb Hardy in the game against Stanford, where Virginia was just returning Cam Robinson from that collarbone injury. Caleb Hardy had significant more reps at linebacker because Stanford was more of a running team than a passing team. So you're probably going to see more Caleb Hardy against Virginia Tech. Although Landon Danley did do really well against Duke, I think he's more of a guy who's better in coverage. So you're probably going to see a little bit of that for that. As far as other injuries, good news is Ben York and Kevin Wigington, so 2 offensive linemen, should be good to go against Virginia Tech. So in the last few games, the O-line had less numbers, and what they were been doing is they've been adding like the 6th or 7th guy off the bench have been kind of rotating in. So Ethan Sipe was kind of that guy. Kevin Wigington was really good when he was healthy, and even he wasn't even fully healthy at this point, but when he was at least able to play, he was really good for the run game. I mean, look at that Florida State game. He was able to help Virginia to really run the ball. Kevin Wigington was a strong guy at right guard. With him and Drake Metcalf kind of alternating in that right guard position, Virginia's going to be a lot stronger against Virginia Tech this Saturday in that right. And also having Ben York, who has demonstrated how much he's grown this year and has made some good movement there. He's going to be available now. So you're looking now at the O-line adding guys, right? More bodies on the offensive line. Unfortunately, that's not the same at the running back room. Noah Vaughn is still not ready to come back.
He's still out.
So,
wow.
Still out. So Noah Vaughn obviously got hurt in that William & Mary game. When he had a coming out party, right? That was a game where we saw what the staff was saying, that he was one of their best running backs in the room. They said,
and 100 yards in the first half. Yeah.
And then he came back for the Cal game and had 1 snap and then re-injured or aggravated his ankle, and he's still not ready to go. Jaden Thomas is also not going to be available this week, which is unfortunate because I think I remember in the preseason game, AB and I both said Dakota Tweedy was going to be our breakout star of this year. And to be fair, I think he was on his way to being one of those guys that we were going to be talking about more at this point of the season. He got hurt. Jaden Thomas was slowly trying to get a little bit in that tight end row so they can do more 12 personnel with him out there. Then he got hurt, and he's probably a week away from returning. So Noah Vaughn and Jaden Thomas, from what Elliot said in this press conference, are probably going to be ready for any postseason game, but won't be available for Virginia Tech. So those are kind of the main injuries that kind of came off of that Duke game, and the guys were trying to get healthy leading into this in the game against the Hokies.
Curious for me is like Antonio Clary, being a, kind of a star player last year, and he, led up, to that, pretty much his career playing back there with Joey Blunt and, the 2 hammers back there, they were all over the field. And I think, is he still playing injured? Is he still, I don't know. What have you seen?
He's still rehabbing. I mean, he's still
that's
rehabbing while he's playing.
That's
I mean, Antonio Clary, has had 2 ACL injuries at this point right now. He's had a few injuries.
Okay.
But I mean, he's doing enough for them. He's rotating in. So, and plus, like, how can you take Christian Charles out when he's having such a great second half of the season? And Ethan Minter has also had quite the year too.
He's a breakout.
And then Devin Neal has had quite the games for him. He's had a couple of pass breakups in critical moments in the game. I mean, we saw it, against Duke when that goal line stand, he had that pass breakup. I believe it was 3rd down in that goal line stand. But yeah, so these guys, the safety unit has done really well in the second half of the season. They've really gelled with each other. And so for Antonio Clary, I mean, he's coming in when he's not, and he's making the plays. I mean, he had that pick against Cal, so it's not like he's not available. I know that the biggest question up until I think the Duke game was like, why is Antonio Clary not at the depth chart? He is playing. It's just that I think a lot of people probably expected him to play more. But honestly, that's been kind of the theme of this defense, which is why they've been doing so good, right? When you look at that snap count, you're seeing the snap counts being a lot lower than you expect from a defense. I mean, look at Jameer Carter. He's been having like 15, 16, 17 snaps in the game. If
That's
I were to
good.
have told you last year that Jameer Carter sometimes would have less than 20 snaps, that Jason Hammond would have less than 20 snaps, you would have been saying, she's crazy. That's never going to happen. But that's what's happening on the defense, which is why they're such a good fourth quarter team, because everyone is fresh on the defense while the other side is not, right? So, so I think Antonio Clary, I mean, he's had a lot of injuries. He's still, I mean, he mentioned he still does a little bit of rehab on days in at the facility. So, but I mean, he's still full go. It's just, they're spreading out those snaps. That's been their main goal this year.
Well, you hit it right on the head. Well, I didn't know that he's still in the middle of rehabbing. There is no, why isn't he playing? No, he's rehabbing and playing. He's playing his way into shape, playing his way into trying to get healthy, but also still trying to contribute to the team, which I understand that as well. But now that clears a lot up for me, because those have been questions that have been asked. How come Clary, who was before the season, was coming in as an impact player, maybe somewhere on the line or on the level of Cam
he had a
Robinson,
setback. He had a setback right before training camp. So that setback put him a couple months behind. So that's why we didn't see him really in the early on in the season. They had high expectation though he'd be ready to go right there at training camp, and then he had that setback. I mean, if you think about it, he tore his ACL. What was it? The Boston College game last year? Was it that? It was right.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Boston College game. So, I mean, he got back from an ACL injury less than a year. That's, when you look at ACL injuries, it could take, depending on the body, it could take a year. Yeah. So, I mean, if you see the timeline, I mean, he technically was going to, if I had to pick, he would have been coming back now, right? October, November, and he's been back for a little longer than that. So, I mean, you can see why they slowly in. And Tony Elliott has said in press conference, because we've asked about Antonio Clary in press conferences, and he said, I'm doing the best for him too, because if it was up to Antonio Clary, he would be on the field since like August, right? He would be in the field in the first game of the year. They always say that he's one of those warrior guys that you got to drag him from the field. Him and Cam Robinson, those are the two guys that would that need to be fought off the field, which we saw right with Cam Robinson against. So, but I mean, it's just the way of this injury. They didn't want him to make it worse. So they've been very, very strategic in giving him, 20 snaps here. They started off with like a handful of snaps. I mean, there was one game where I think it was Ethan Minter got a big hit, and then ended up Antonio Clary having 60 snaps. But that was the most snaps that I've seen from Antonio Clary. Most of the time it ranges in that 20 range, maybe 30.
I've seen him get some spot duty here and there. You're right. And, but yeah, those are some of the questions I had about him, because I know, being who he is, he was an impact player, and, the injury sometimes, those leg injuries, you said, they come back in a year, but the rule of thumb is you don't get your true explosiveness back. It takes 2 years to truly get that explosiveness back that you had before you had the injury, to totally get back to the way that you were. So yeah, it's going to take a while for him, and bless the young man. Hopefully he can get ready for the draft and for the combine, and be ready for that. And Coach Elliot's probably trying to make him aware that you're going to have a life after this, and we'll be okay, son. Just go ahead and do what you can. But yeah, so let's get some of my hosts in here, see if they can ask you some questions. And I'm going to start with my man C Wood. C Wood, you there? Breaker 9. C Wood, let's go ahead and ask Jackie some questions. That's some things that are on your mind when it comes to the Wahoos.
So, Jackie, I saw the open line was, I think it was 11.5. It's dropped down to 8.5. Do you think that's solely because of Cam Robinson, or are there other injuries? I know you covered injuries, but are there some other things we're not aware of, or is that solely because of Cam Robinson?
I think the Cam Robinson news certainly had a factor there, just because Virginia Tech is such a running team. That's their main offense. And when you look at what NC State was able to do early on in the season, and establish that run against Virginia, that would cause some alarm bells in some people, and that could probably why the line moved. I just see that this is a different Virginia defense compared to the game against NC State. Yeah, Cam Robinson was a main factor in that game, but I mean, when you look at the improvements that the Virginia did in the secondary and just some of the guys, I mean, Maddox Marcellus is playing a lot better. You have Landon Danley that has more snaps underneath his belt. James Jackson is playing well. You also had that front that, I mean, in the NC State game, when I remember back then, was it was kind of like they had a change up like in hockey game where the D line was just kind of changing in between every so
Different
often.
line. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see that, but if you're not covering Virginia on a weekly basis, those are things that might escape you. So that's been something that I've noticed, because this is the first year that Virginia has had more national attention and more basically attention on the other side. And that's sort of the thing that you miss if you don't cover them every day. I mean, you're seeing this sometimes when you look at the college football playoff ranking, when they discuss, like Miami's and Notre Dame's resume, and they mentioned the loss, the Syracuse game as a big difference. And you're like, well, the Syracuse game against Notre Dame, they played honestly a walk-on quarterback that was a lacrosse player. I mean, it's just, it's like if you don't cover the team every week, you're getting these discrepancies. And but yeah, I mean, the Cam Robinson injury will definitely move the line. I haven't heard anything else about any other players. I mean, Chandler Morris spoke to us today, so if that was the main concern, he was available to media today talking to us. And generally, they do not make players available if they're not going to play in that game. So I don't see any issues there.
Okay. Let me bring Jackie. Excuse me, Jackie. Let me bring in Amber. Amber, anything you want to ask Jackie?
So I'm kind of going to go off what Mike asked in the comments. I mean, I know we're going to get our actual predictions. So without asking that, more or less like the spread, I guess, is what we're referring to right now. It's 8.5. Do you feel like that is low, on the lower end of what you think, or do you think it's going to be closer? Do you think it's going to be, because they always say that it doesn't matter how good UVA is or how good Tech is. This game is always a toss-up, and
Right.
They call it the curse of this game. Whenever they come to Charlottesville, it just doesn't matter. Do you think that's going to apply this year?
I was actually talking to Greg Medea from Daily Progress today after we left the press conference. And because I just shot a podcast with Colby Crawford from VT Scoop, and he made his prediction, and it was a close game. And we were going through the matchup, and I was going through like, okay, Virginia has the edge here. Virginia has the edge here. Virginia has the edge here. Like when you look at Virginia Tech secondary, you're like, okay, this is the game where Chandler Morris can take advantage of that. And when I'm looking at, drones and the passing game there, I'm like, okay, Virginia can take advantage there. I just think I told myself I wasn't going to do this.
Everybody
I don't think this is going to be as close as people think. And maybe that's just because I just seen this team, and I think the one thing that people keep pointing is that, well, this is the Virginia Tech game. They've only won 2 times in the last 10 years, but this is not the normal Virginia team. You have only 22 players that were here for that 2022 season. You have 31 players transferred in that have no idea about this rivalry and what happened. They don't have those demons. They don't have that on their shoulders. Chandler Morris has never been part of this. Mitchell Melton hasn't been part of this. I mean, he was too busy in a national title game last year. All these guys don't have the baggage. So when everyone keeps telling me all this history, I'm like, usually I'll be with you. I'm gonna be right there with you. But these are not the same players. You go down the list. Jamari Taylor was not here. No. Cam Ross was not here. You can say Mikhail Boley, Noah Josie were here. Mikhail Boley was lucky to be moving correctly against Virginia Tech last year. Noah Josie had the flu, if I remember correctly. That was a whole different thing. And then you also had that whole thing of Anthony Calandria being sat out, with Tony Muskett coming in for the first game after coming in back from injury, with an offensive line that had the flu bug and injuries. So that's what I'm saying. I think it's not going to be a close game. I could see a 10-point, 14-point win by Virginia. I'm still debating on my score, but I don't know if I'm going to go with a close game.
Okay. All right. That's a really good question. My
Yes,
man
ma'am.
Herman Bailey.
So
Go ahead, AB.
I've been
Or the Amy. Go
told.
ahead, Amy.
Hold on, sorry. I've been told drones may not be starting. Just
Oh, they put Pop in
that
there?
out
Wow.
there. Pop came in. Pop scored last weekend twice. Like I'm just saying. I've been told.
He's a better passer than just to me, fundamentally, he just
He's
comes
a
off as a
better
better
passer.
passer.
He sees the field better, and I think that the drones drama, because he can't throw the ball, he can't pass the ball.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I talked to Kobe Crawford. So I don't know. I don't know who's gonna I haven't heard anything about the starter. Kobe Crawford over VT Scoop, when we did our podcast earlier, mentioned that Drones is the likely starter. He said Pop Watson might play and feature. So from what they're saying, VT Scoop, they've been saying that it's Drones, unless something happened since probably this afternoon. I think even Pop Watson. The one thing I will say, last year he did a good job against Virginia, but they also had a defensive line that only had 3 defensive tackles that were playing. That was Anthony Brenton, Jameer Carter, and Michael Diatta. And this year they have 6 defensive tackles alone in the interior, and that's going to be a difference. I mean, you have Mitchell Milton and Daniel Rickard as your pass rushers, and I think they're in the top 5. Kazim Moore, you have Jacob Holmes that's been able to get to the guys. With those guys in the pass rush, been able to create some pressure to the quarterback. You're getting one-on-ones inside, which is the reason why guys inside have been able to get to the quarterback and get sacks, which has allowed the secondary to do a better job, which has allowed the linebackers to keep in their gaps. So I think I'm not going to judge what Virginia did last year against Pop. I think Virginia can match up better. The one thing when you looked at against Miami, he did turn over the ball. So with pressure, so that I think you'll be a better passer, but at the same time, I think what I've learned is the Virginia secondary. I'm putting faith in the Virginia secondary to win those one-on-one battles. We've seen them play against good quarterbacks like the Cal quarterback earlier this year. I mean, we also saw them play Mensa, Duke. I mean, that was the best offense in the ACC. And they were able to control that Duke offense. I mean, Duke's offense had 50 yards of total offense in that first half. They had their first down in the second quarter. So I still, when I look at that, I still think that Virginia, on paper, you can see why I've been leaning towards Virginia just when I look at those matchups on paper.
Okay. All right. That's a good analysis. Let me get Ed in here. Ed, what would you like to ask Ms. Franciulli?
All right, you do it. Okay, there we go. Much better. I actually was going to go in a different route. I wasn't thinking so much basketball, but I'm sorry, football, but basketball. Basketball got a big announcement this week with a big donation. Is there is there like a friendly rivalry between basketball supporters and football supporters? Is like, oh, football stepped up, so we've got to step up. Is there any of that going on behind the scenes, or is this just sort of a coincidence?
Yeah, I mean, in this new world, you just need donations at this point, because you just need to compete for retention. You need to compete for guys. So it's going to be a commonplace thing. If Virginia wants to compete, they need these donations, and it has to happen if you want to compete against the teams and get those talent into Virginia and be consistent about winning. So I don't know if there's a family competition about them. I mean, I think Carla Williams is really happy if there is a friendly competition, because that's money for Virginia athletics. But yeah, no, I think just both sets of fans, both sets of boosters are aware of the situation. That's why Virginia football got that donation earlier this fall, right? They understand what's coming in the portal because Virginia is going to be busy in the portal. It's going to be a fascinating portal to cover because it only opens in January. So it's Virginia's going to be active. So I expect Virginia to add a good amount in the portal.
Okay.
Well, good programs actually do have that synergy going on where they say, hey, football's giving money, and they'll rile up the basketball boosters and say, hey, let's see what we can do to rival that. So yeah, a lot of programs do have that kind of a competition going on where the boosters go back and forth and see how well they can support the programs. But yeah, that'd be great if we could get, like you said, Carla would love it. And that'd be great if we could get something like that going. Because we're off to a good start, for 2025 going into 2026. So, and you know what? The thing is, you got folks who will do that, but the bottom line is, will there be results? Looks like we're seeing some results on both ends. We're seeing the results of a football program that was constructed, in 1 year, and seeing what the results are of that. Now, the basketball program, I mean, it's early, but they're looking like I don't want to say a sleeper, but a squad that has talent. But a lot of people say, the jury's out on Coach Odom being the leader there. But can he get those kids all to gel together and play his style and play his system and be, that up and down 3-point shooting, trapping, a full court kind of a team that wears a team out, because he likes to run, like Jackie said, in football, but in basketball, lines, like in hockey, where you got, a one line in for, 10 minutes or 7 minutes, then you bring in your next line to wear a team down. And then at the end of the game, they put in their best players, kind of like their closers, to really start to stretch the lead out, or, or to keep the game close and just try to take the game over. But that's what I've seen with this basketball program. I know they had a hard loss at Butler, but, I see them being a really, really tough team. I mean, I'm really liking what Chance Mallory has going on. But Ed, you took us off schedule. We're still talking football, and this is rivalry week. So I'm gonna get to you, Ed. I'm gonna get you, Ed, on that. So, but we're gonna get to basketball too. So let's who hasn't asked Jackie? Oh, Amy, did you have anything you wanted to ask Jackie before we move on to the next topic?
No, sir, I'm good.
Okay. All right. So let's get to this. So, being that we've had all the success we've just been talking about, and where the team is and what they have going on right now, the future. Let's look towards the future. Let's turn our heads and think, all right, 9 wins, possible 10 wins, possible ACC championship. I was trying to write all these things down, coming into, this game, and thinking, how many things can they accomplish with this win, right? So, some of the things I came up with was the first time winning 10 games the second time winning 10 games over the history of the school playing football. The first time playing Virginia, or the second time playing Virginia Tech, trying to get to 10 wins. Also, the football program having an opportunity to get to Charlotte. I think they also, don't they do an ACC regular season championship as well, Jackie?
Not in football.
Not in football. For some reason, I thought they had the best record in regular season. Okay. All right. Well, that's not there, but they have a chance to get to the ACC championship game. Also, they, with that, there goes, if they win that game, they get an opportunity to be in the college football playoff opportunity. They get an opportunity to be there. So there is a lot of things that can happen on this game. Ahmad has said it in a post game 2 weeks ago. He said, this game is the most important game of University of Virginia's history. And I'm going to have to agree with some of that. How do you feel about that, Jackie?
I don't know if it's the most important game in Virginia football history. I mean, I think it's important for this team. I think it's important for Tony Elliott, just because no matter what you did in the previous games, people are going to remember this one. Just because they could be doing everything right, but then they lose to Virginia Tech, you're not going to have that fan momentum that you want, right? So for Virginia head coach Tony Elliott to continue to build that fan support that he's been able to do this year, you have to beat Virginia Tech, because UVA fans remember that Virginia Tech lost. They won't remember the previous wins, right? And this is just for Virginia to get to the next step of going to the AC title game, because it's kind of funny, right? If you had to ask any Virginia fan, right, prior to the season started, and I told you that Virginia would win 7-8 games, they would be like, great, we're going to a bowl game. That's fantastic. The whole expectation has changed. And it's been funny, like just reading that when you look at, the message boards, and when I read people's comments and just trying to see, I don't think it's I understand what Ahmad was saying. I just don't know it's the biggest game in the entire, because if I'm Tony Elliott, I would say it's not for the entire program's history. I think it's important for this moment for Tony Elliott to build, because of what's going on at Virginia Tech and James Franklin. You want to be able to be that team in the state now. You have that is what I would say. I think it's most important in this moment now. But I don't think it's the most important. I mean, you can argue if they make it to the college football playoff, that is the most important game in the program history. I would argue that the ACC title game is more important. So it's just that for Elliott to do what he wants to do, this is that monkey off his back. He needs to win this, because it is the one more thing he can check off the list. He had troubles winning in close games. He's won close games this year. Virginia is able to do that several times. They've been able to win those games. I mean, double overtime. How many overtimes? It was 3 overtimes in 4 games. Proved it, right? They've been able to do that. They've been able to get those road wins. They've been able to do well at home. I mean, they lost to Wake, but they've been able to do well at home. They did so many things for the first time in almost 20 years. This is the next step. They need to kind of check off that before going on to their next goal.
Mike Gibson says, Big Law, why isn't she on the show every week? Sign her up now. I know, right? I love to have you every week, Jackie, to come on. The fans love you in the chat. So,
hey, Law.
Yes.
So I'm going to say this, and then I've got to go because my son is here from Texas.
Okay. Yes.
This is my thing. I am a diehard VT, but if UVA does not win this game, I think what Ahmad was trying to say, they need to win this game in order to prove to the CFB that they belong there. If you cannot beat a team that is down the way that VT is down this year and has been down, then you've got no chance. I mean, unless you go to the ACC championship and you win, but if you lose this game to Virginia Tech, you go to the ACC championship, you're going to be already down. And okay. I think that's what Ahmad was saying, is this game is the most important. They need to win this game to go. I hope they do go. I think it's going to be a very close game. I think that UVA may win by 3. I'm picking UVA over my own team only because VT is not where VT needs to be. The secondary, Flowers is back there, and I know his brothers are both going to be busting his you-know-what if he lets somebody go past him from UVA. But I got to go, but I hope UVA wins because that's, I think, the only way they're going to go to the ACC championship.
All right. Well, thank
All
you.
right, y'all have a nice Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Amy. Appreciate it. You have a happy Thanksgiving as well.
We're screwed now.
Yeah, obviously, if we don't win this game, we don't go to the ACC championship. That's deep right there.
Oh my goodness.
Thanks, Amy, for your input.
James is saying in the chat, he goes, the biggest game in 10 years, over 130 years. Let's see here. Peggy saying she loves you, Jackie. you got, yeah. I tell you, man, you got a fan base out here. Especially
if I could jump in here for a minute, fans, transfer portals don't just happen like for football and basketball. We could use some donations here. Maybe we could sign some of this top level talent that we keep talking about. But it takes money. It takes donations.
Appreciate
just saying,
that, Ed.
not a problem, man.
Mike says, ugh. And Mike Gibson says, why are we talking about VT? The reason why we talk about VT is, Mike, you keep your enemies close. What they say, you keep your friends close, your enemies closer. So we're always going to have, an eye on the enemy. And it's always good to talk about them because one of the hosts actually is a Hokie, and it's good to actually have that banter and also just to to learn about what they're doing on that side of town as well. They're our biggest target. Let's make sure maybe we have a little bit of an insight on them as well. But yeah, so let's kind of get into the question of the future. Some more about the future. So moving forward, Jackie, what do you feel this program is? Where are they going, and what to look forward to? Do you feel like next year, because we're going to graduate 20 some odd people, right? Almost 20 players.
I just did the eligibility chart over the bye week.
There we go.
Hold on, I got to pull it up because my memory is not as great anymore after 2 kids. So 1 second, I need to bring my eligibility chart from my Google Drive. I think it wasn't as much as I thought, because you have a lot of guys with a sneaky extra year of eligibility that they could bring, like Christian Charles could possibly get a medical waiver, so he can possibly come for another year. You have guys like obviously Monroe Mills and McKeelan Thomas who can possibly apply for a medical waiver. You have, David Wallabaugh who can get a medical waiver. Drake Metcalf who can get a medical waiver from last year for being out. You also have Mills. Yeah, and then you also have Jason Brevard still has eligibility left. Donovan Platt still has eligibility left. DeMarc Morris, if he has a medical waiver because he had a torn ACL this year. Then you have guys, Maddox Marcellus still has a year of eligibility left. Mikhail Boley has a decision to make if he wants to come back or goes to the NFL. So he might see what the situation is there. I mean, you're going to miss guys. I mean, obviously, Shalom Morris is gone. So I have a feeling that we might see a interesting development in the portal for quarterback there. But yeah, I think, and you also have the situations where some of these guys might gain another year of eligibility if they so wish because of the shooting a few years ago. That's still something that is available to these players. So, and then the only other thing is, for the first time, Virginia has to abide by the 105 roster limit. So you're going to see how that shapes up. Right now, on the site, I had my eligibility chart up. Virginia is at, I haven't added all the, I guess you would call them walk-ons, preferred walk-ons. Right. And so I haven't added all those guys yet into my eligibility chart because that was prior. I got that confirmation that Virginia needs 105. They're currently at 90 guys on the roster. And this is guys like, for example, Trey McDonald. He's getting his degree this year. Will he be staying? Guys who are getting their degree, they can possibly just leave. And we saw that last year. A lot of the guys who had their degrees, like Ty Furnish and those guys, just chose not to continue at Virginia and enter the portal as a grad transfer. And some guys just stopped playing football. So you have questions about guys who get their degrees. Like, well, Will Betres just died to stay. I mean, he has a degree. He has the ability. And then you have, I'm trying to think who else. Stevie Bracey, I believe he's already into his master's, I think, or I mean, so you have a lot of questions when it comes to there, but I think Virginia actually has a good group back because a lot of those transfers they bought, yes, you have them that are one and dones, but you have a few that had 2 years of eligibility left. And even Mitchell Melton, he does have an opportunity to possibly get a medical waiver for one of his seasons at Ohio State if he still chooses. it's one of those questions that you have now in this NOL world. Will he choose to go to NFL, or is his pay better coming back to college for another year? I mean, he's had a stellar season. I mean, the guy rose his stock significantly at Virginia this year. So you can see the path for him to get into the NFL. But there's also a path for him. Depends on how much money you're talking. I mean, this is a whole new world. That's why you can't make these assumptions anymore. Before, I would say Mitchell Milton to the NFL is, the right choice. And I mean, he's also set his body. I mean, I remember seeing him after the Louisville overtime game, and he's like, man, my old body does not like this very much. Let's not do any more overtime games. So it could be for him. He might just listen to his body and try to see which is best.
Hey, you got Mike Gibson saying he wants to sign you to my show, Jackie. So I appreciate that, Mike. I guess we can talk. All three of us can talk. See if we can put that together. See if we can get Jackie on a retainer about every other week or so. But yeah. So that eligibility is a big deal. I would really love an opportunity once the season's over, kind of see, who's left, who's going, and who's going to, come from the outside, because I think that Coach Elliot and the team, they're going to go get a top level starter. I really do. I mean, I like Kalen, Danny, but I just think that they're going to look for a player that has similar skill set or has been through the fire, similar to how Chandler has.
You just want a competition, right? You just want competition at the quarterback room, because right now you have Daniel Kalen and you have Cole Gear, who is their number 3. Then you have Bjorn Jorgensen, and then you have Eli Hammer coming in as a true freshman. That's a very, very, very young quarterback room. So you would think as a Virginia, even if your thought process is Danny Kalen will come in and be your starter or projected starter, you probably still want another quarterback in there to push Danny forward and just have that steady competition. And I mean, the last few years, the backup has played a significant amount. So you do want someone that you can go, hey, we're safe in his hands. And to be fair to Kalen, I mean, I know people keep talking about that Wake game and showing all the stuff that he did wrong, but with the offensive line not having their best game and giving him almost no time to throw, I mean, that last drive showed the potential that Danny Kalen can bring when they give him those short, quick passes when you have an offensive line that wasn't giving him enough time to throw. So there's a potential there. There's a reason why he was highly recruited coming out of high school. So you see that there. He might need more time to develop, but you also need that competition in the room.
Gotcha. Understood with that. Looks like our folks in the chat. Herman says he wants to join the show. How about next week we get you on for a little bit, and let you talk a little bit to the staff, to the team. Eric from EM Sports, he's also in the press box with us. He says that the California QB may be heading east because he lost his coach as well. That would be interesting if he ever jumped in the portal. He'd be a hot commodity. I don't know if he'd come to Virginia, but good gracious, if he got out there. Mike says it's quite a statement. And let's do the good old podcast. That's right. Go ahead, Russ. Throw it out there. Listen to Jackie. I'm telling you, Jackie, you have a fan base over here too. They love her some Jackie. They love this some Jackie, man. But yeah, so now that we kind of got some of those questions out of the way, anything we want to talk about with the basketball program? I mean, they just got a $5 million donation either today or yesterday. What did you?
It was today. I remember retweeting it during the press conference for Tony Elliott. So it was today.
Okay. Yeah. Look at another superstar. Look, North Texas. That's right. They do have a star over there. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
The North Texas pipeline. Let's start that.
Go say that again.
The North Texas pipeline.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's start that. Yeah, we'll take any players that come out of that state. Let's go. But the basketball program, I think they're doing well. I think that I think it's going better than thought, and a lot of people thought. Got any information about the team and what Coach Odom is has going on right now with the program? I know they play Friday night. I'll be up there Friday night for that game as well.
But out of North Carolina, they're at JPJ at 4 p.m. I would probably have my mind is still on football. This is like one of the first seasons of me covering Virginia football where my mind is still on football, and I haven't. I've obviously watched basketball, but I've been impressed with, obviously, Tista Ritter and Johan Grunlow and Ugo Nyenso. I think those bigs in the middle have been really great inside the paint. I really am interested how the rotation is going to change for Virginia. I mean, right now, like you said, the bench has been great for Virginia in big moments. They're very, very deep in that way. I think Chance Mallory is earning himself more minutes. He's obviously been, the Ryan Odom goes to him for the spark. Whenever they need something, it's always him that comes off the bench. And then against Butler this last game, you saw him relying him one more time. I think it was the most minutes Mallory has played all year, if I remember correctly, in a game. So I think you're seeing those type of things. You're seeing a little bit of that. I think defensively, they still need to improve. We saw that during the Grimber tip-off. I think what's interesting is in the beginning, you saw that everyone was able to shoot the three where they were kind of given the green light. I'm curious if that changes moving forward. When we see them against 2 Power 4 teams, they struggled against the three. I'm curious if maybe some guys aren't going to give the green light in most situations, or if they're going to be a little more selective on those 3-point shots. That is definitely something that I'm curious about. But yeah, I've watched them, and obviously I have some. I want to see more competition against Power 4 teams in that thing. But I think I'm more curious about how Devin Tillis is going to kind of join in there once he's getting more playing time. But if I would be lying to you if I had focused a lot on basketball right now, my mind is on National Signing Day, which is next week. It's kind of crazy to think about. It's so early in December, and with everything going on, and if Virginia's in the ACC title game, that's going to be next week as well. So a lot of stuff is going on. Virginia is still in some 2026 guys' ear. We could be right now. They have 13 commits. Maybe they add 1 or 2 more. I'm not sure. They have an official visitor on grounds this weekend. They also have other 2026 guys that they're talking to. So that's been kind of my focus right now. I'll probably turn to basketball once we know what's going on with Virginia football.
Well, it's been difficult for me too with, because I have, it's not many times we get to really hang on to football this long. And,
yes. And I've been holding on with 2 hands. I'm not letting go.
That's right. And I've already got my place booked in Charlotte. That's how confident I'm already
superstitious about that. I'm not quite ready. I haven't even put my credential request for the game. I need to wait until Saturday.
No, I'm ready. I think it's going to happen, and I think we'll be down there, and I already got everything set up, so I'm ready to go. So yeah, we definitely are looking forward to that, and I can tell you, good for the basketball program. Look at Mike is like he enjoys your professionalism, Jackie, and your insight is an educated and informed opinion. Stay with us. Herman, Ryan Odom, and used the Butler game as a training moment for the team, prove who wants to play. And Eric, basketball is building an identity and chemistry. They will be better in about a month, and then we will see more patterns. Okay, sounds good, guys. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and close out the show. Jackie, you've been amazing being here with us this long. And I know some of my other folks they had to check out, but been on here with us for about a little over an hour, and we got a few more days, right? We got to eat some turkey, and then we get to take it easy, and then we get to get to the grounds. Are you going Friday to watch to do the basketball game?
I have not decided yet.
Usually that would be a yes. This is a football skewed a decision.
Well, it's one of those things where, like, depending on the situation on Saturday, Virginia loses. That means they'll go to a bowl game, and the bowl game might be around Christmas. So that means less time with my family during the holidays. So I might just take that time to spend time with my kids on Friday. So it's kind of trying to balance that time period. So I might just watch it from home. I usually don't like doing that. I hate covering games from home because you don't get that environment, or post game you're not there. But I might do that in this situation because it's a night game too on Saturday. So that's the day. I mean, night games, I don't leave the stadium until 2:30 in the morning. So It's like I might want to just stay home and relax, watch the game from my couch, and have my 8-year-old and 5-year-old tell me that the commercials are too long. So maybe that's my way to do it.
Right. Ed, anything you want to say to Jackie in closing?
Yeah, I'm with her kids. I think the commercials are too long and there's too many of them. Yeah, really appreciate you coming by, and if you take cookies as a form of currency, we could work something out. Otherwise, I'm semi-retired, so cash is not easy to come by. But maybe some of our donors might.
I work for coffee.
Would like to. What, you work for coffee?
I work for coffee.
We can work something out.
I was gonna say Seattle's best or Starbucks.
Starbucks. You always see me for coffee cup every time you see me at a game.
Oh, don't worry. Don't look now.
Don't
listen. Don't worry now. Every time I see you, I'm be like, Jackie, let's go get some coffee. Every time we're in the press box, what do you want? Let's go.
Yeah, Greg Medea laughs because every time we are on the road together, because we're the two that travel to all the road games. So we often are. We sometimes plan to go drive together to the games if possible. And he always jokes. He's like, "Did you grab your Starbucks this morning, or do we need to stop by the drive?" I was like, "No, we got to stop by the drive-thru." So, yeah,
that's right. Shout out to my man Greg, man. Medea, yeah, that's my guy, man. And Greg was on here a little early this year, right after you, Jackie. But yeah, shout out to him as well. Another star beat writer on the job, on the grounds of the University of Virginia. And what I'll say, Jackie, is, I always appreciate you coming on. You and I, we always talk with each other in the press box, always share things back and forth. And as always, you're knowledgeable. And thank you for coming on today as well. And anything we can do for you on your end, go ahead and give your handles and how people can get in contact with you and also support your brand at 247 as well.
Yeah, so I'm on all social media. So I'm on X, I'm on Blue Sky, I'm on Threads, I'm on Instagram. Obviously you can find me on wahoos247.com. That's where all my writing is. That's where all the information is. And there's going to be more and more as the portal goes on and recruiting kind of picks up. And we're actually running a 75% off sale right now. So it's only $30 for the annual VIP membership. It comes out to $2.50 a month if you do it that way. So yeah, that's where all my content is. And yeah, it's going to be crazy. We have I really did like this new feature that I did today. I did a feature on Trell Harris. So if you're interested in getting to know Trell Harris, I did a story where I interviewed 5 of his former coaches from Chicago. So the 7-on-7 coach that he's known from the 8th grade, 2 recruiting coordinators, his high school coach, and basically one of the recruiting coordinators in Chicago that connected him to Virginia in the portal. So you kind of learn about the village that helped Trell Harris become Trell Harris.
Awesome. Appreciate that. That's awesome. Awesome. Everybody go check that story out. And I definitely will as well. Shout out to all my folks in the chat. My man Herman Bailey, thank you for tuning in. Also, Mike, thank you for tuning in and contributing as well. All my folks, Eric Thomas, all my folks, thank you guys. Peggy, James. I can tell you this. I will see you guys definitely online. I'll be doing my pre, post, and halftime show on Saturday. I will also be doing a little bit of a show for the game or halftime for the basketball game. But I got to thank all of you for the support as always. And thank you for hanging out with us. But as of now, this shop is closed. Thank you guys. We will see you a little bit later. Enjoy your turkey day and God bless. Thank you guys and have a good evening.